Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine at your home. Dear students, today we are going to study one of the important chapters of geography subject of 10th standard. Chapter number 5, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife. Students, earlier we have studied the location and extent of Brazil and India. Then we have studied the physiography of India and Brazil. Then we have studied the drainage of India and Brazil. Then the fourth chapter we have studied climate. Student, if you understood all these chapters, then it is very easy to understand the fifth chapter, that is natural vegetation and wildlife. Okay, because the natural vegetation and wildlife is completely depend on the physiography as well as the climate of Brazil and India. So if you have understood the earlier chapters, then it is very easy to understand the fifth chapter. Students, here some of the pictures are shown. Can you identify these pictures? Yes. For example, in the first three pictures, the plants are shown, and the next three pictures, the animals and birds are shown. Okay, students. So if we see these pictures, we can see, for example, the first one is like cactus, and second one is like coffee, and the third one is like a rubber. Okay, so such kind of plants have you seen in India? Yes, cactus we have seen, coffee we have seen, and rubber also we have seen. Then next we try to identify the bird which is in the picture is like a sparrow. Second picture is of leopard, and the third one that looks like a python. Okay, student. So all these pictures are very familiar to us. We can quickly recognize that. But student, the amazing thing is that all these plants and animals are from Brazil. These are from Brazil. So here in this picture, what is shown in the figure number 5.1, flora and fauna of Brazil. Yes, student. So it is very easy to identify. Okay, after studying these pictures, now we are going to study the physiography, natural vegetation and wildlife, or what I can say, the cross section figure of physiography, natural vegetation and wildlife. Students, if you try to understand this diagram, okay students, this figure, and if you understood this diagram, then it is very easy to understand the vegetation as well as the wildlife of Brazil. Okay student, so let's try to understand this physiography or the cross section figure of the Brazil. Okay student, as earlier in the fourth chapter also we have studied the cross section figure of temperature and rainfall. Now here we are going to study the physiography, natural vegetation and wildlife. So student, this figure 5.2 is related to Brazil vegetation. Okay student, so this is the cross section figure of Brazil. Okay, so let's try to understand this figure, what the figure tells us. Now student, here we can see easily what we can see. This figure is given from north 5 degree 11 minute north to 25 degree 24 minutes south. Okay student, so north to south cross section is shown. On the north side of Brazil, we know that what do we have? Guyana Highlands. Okay, Guyana Highlands are at the north side of Brazil. Some part of the Guyana Highland is inside the Brazil, and some part of the Guyana Highland is outside the Brazil. Okay, so we can see the Guyana Highlands are located at the north side of the Brazil. And then after Guyana Highland, we know that the Equatorial Forest is there, or equatorial region is there. Amazon Basin is located after the Guyana Highland near the equator. Okay students, where we have this region is completely what? Amazon Basin region. Okay, and here we know that equator is near to the Amazon Basin river, and because of that equatorial region, here we see continuous rainfall throughout the year. Okay student, and because of the continuous rain throughout the year, here we have what? The equatorial forest. Okay student, equatorial forest we have because of the continuous rainfall throughout the year. What is the reason behind the throughout rain here at the Amazon river basin? Because of this is the tropical zone, or because equator is near to Amazon basin. Okay student, because of hot temperature, equator is near to Amazon basin river or north of the Brazil, and because of that continuous rain falls because of the hot temperature. Because of hot temperature, low pressure area creates here, and because of low pressure area, here winds blow from high pressure air to low pressure area, and because of that here continuously rain falls. Okay students, so this is the reason that here we have rainfall throughout the year, and because of continuous rainfall, here we see the equatorial forest or evergreen forest student. Okay, evergreen forest, what do you mean by evergreen forest? Where we have continuous rainfall throughout the year, there we see the evergreen forest. Okay student, so here at the region of Amazon river basin, we can find here equatorial forest, and that are called as evergreen forest also. And near the Guyana Highlands, we have here tropical forest. What is the tropical forest? The forests which are found in the zone of tropic, that is called as tropical forest. Okay student, have you understood this much? Very good. Now next, what we see student here? See student, I have already told you or explained in the 4th chapter climate. As we go away from the equator, towards the south of Brazil, okay, the rainfall reduces. The duration of rainfall reduces. Just now I have told you rain falls throughout the year at the Amazon basin, but as we go towards the south of Brazil, the rainfall reduces as well as the duration of rainfall reduces. Okay, so here as we go towards south of Brazil, we see variations in forest or vegetation, we can say. Okay student, now where we do not have rainfall continuous, then there we see the deciduous forest. What kind of forest? Deciduous forest. Then at the Brazil highlands, we see the temperate forest. What kind of forest? Temperate kind of forest we see at the Brazilian highlands. Okay student, so here we can see the variety in forest in Brazil because of variety in climate as well as rainfall also. Okay, in the Amazon basin we have continuous rain throughout the year, so here we have equatorial forest or evergreen forest. Then after that we can see here a Paraná basin region, Paraguay river basin or Paraná basin we can say. There we can find deciduous forest. Student, what do you mean by deciduous forest then? Okay, can you tell me? You can type your answer in the comment box. Student, deciduous forest means the trees that shade their leaves to save water. Okay, that forests are called as deciduous forest. Okay, understood? Yes. And as well as here, what kind of forest or what kind of trees we find here? Most of the time we see here grassland or different kinds of grasses we see at the Paraná region or Paraná basin. Okay student, then again when we move towards the south of Brazil after the Paraná basin, then we can see here the Brazilian highlands. Okay, here we have the temperate forests, temperate or arid we can say. Student, this deciduous forests are semi-arid forests. Temperate forest we can say arid forest. Arid means what student? Hot. Okay, hot temperature. Here we have somewhat hot temperature. Here we can find again the grasses, different grasses we can find. Yes student, have you understood this much? Very good. Now see student, again one more important thing I would like to tell you here, that student, just now I have told you about the forest, okay, the kinds of forest we see here. But before that, it is very important to understand what kind of temperature is there. In climate, we have studied already about the temperature. Even though in this chapter, it is very important to understand the temperature also. See student, near or coastal line of Brazil, here we see what? 27 degrees centigrade temperature is there, and 1200 millimeter rainfall is there. Okay, there the great escarpment, here we can see the rainfall is reduces. Here it is 600 millimeter rainfall is there, and temperature is 23 degree centigrade is there. Then after the temperate forest, or here at the Paraná Basin, 1500 millimeter rainfall is there and 21 degree centigrade temperature is there. Then in the Amazon Basin, the highest rainfalls here, that is 2000 millimeter, and temperature is very highest here, that is 28 degree centigrade. Okay, now at the highlands, it is the north part of the Brazil. So here 1600 millimeter rainfalls and 21 degree centigrade temperature is there. Okay, so here we can see the variation in rainfalls as well as variations in the temperature. Okay, students, here we know that the equator is near to the Amazon Basin, so here we see the highest temperature, that is 28 degrees centigrade. As we go towards the Tropic of Capricorn, okay, and here we see the temperature is 27 degrees centigrade, 23 degrees centigrade as well as 27 degree centigrade. It means that temperature going down, reducing, we can say. Okay, students, have you understood this much? Yes. So we have seen the vegetation here. So in Brazil, so student, here we can see the variation in temperature, variation in climate, variation in rainfall as well as variation in physiography. And because of this variations, what we can see in Brazil, that Brazil has the largest vegetation species in the world. Okay, student, so do not forget it, Brazil has the largest vegetation species in the world. Student, do not forget it. Why? What is the reason behind it? Because of the variations in temperature, variations in physiography, variations in climate, variation in all also. Okay, so this is the reason. Because of that we have variations in vegetation also and species of vegetation also. Okay, students, have you understood this much? Very good. Dear students, in Brazil we can see the trees like of Brazil, rubber, mahogany, rosewood and some kind of orchids. Yes, student, what do you mean by orchids? Orchids are the creepers with the flowers. Okay, students, so such kind of trees can be found in Brazil. Okay, a variety of trees, plants, flowers can be found in Brazil. Okay, students, have you understood this much? This important part we are going to study, that Brazil is called as lungs of the world. Students, Brazil is called lungs of the world. What is the reason behind that it is called as a lungs of the world? See, student, here we can see the reason. Because of the evergreen rainforest in Brazil, there is a large amount of oxygen that is released in the environment, and this helps to reduce the carbon dioxide levels, and because of that these rainforests are rightly called the lungs of the world. Yes, student, this is very important to understand. In the board examination, question can be asked, why Brazil is called lungs of the world? Yes, student, just now I have told you a variety of forests we can see. Evergreen forest, temperate forest, deciduous forest we can see. And because of the evergreen forest in Brazil, large amount of oxygen is released in the environment, and because of that it reduces the carbon dioxide level of the environment. Okay, and so it is called as the lungs of the world. Have you understood? Very good. So student, this is the vegetation of Brazil. Now students, let's try to understand the vegetation of India. Dear students, if you want to understand the vegetation of India, then again we need to move back, okay, to the climate. If you have understood the lesson climate, then you can easily understand the Indian vegetation. Okay, student, Indian vegetation is related to the plants in the India. Students, if you have understood climate, rainfall, physiography of India, then it is very easy to understand the vegetation of India. Students, some of the questions are asked here. Okay, before finding out the answers to these questions, let's try to understand this major forest types of map, and then let's try to find out the answers of these questions. Okay, student, so first of all, let's try to understand the map of India which is given here. See now, student, first of all, if you want to understand any map, first of all we need to understand the index given here. Okay, so index is given here. The dark green color shows the evergreen forest, the light green color shows the deciduous forest. Then the next one is thorny forest. Then next one is Himalayan forest, and the last one is coastal forest. So such kind of forests are available in India, or we can see in India, student. Okay, so evergreen forest, wherever we see, student, here we can see the dark shades. Okay, here also we can see this part of what we can say eastern side of India. Okay, now this is the northern part of side of India. Here also we can see the dark shade. Okay, so here we can see the evergreen forest. Student, in Brazil also, in Amazon basin, evergreen forests are there. In the same way in India also, at by the side of western ghats, north part of the eastern ghats, as well as northern part of India, here we can see evergreen forest. Okay, students, why do we see evergreen forest here? Because here these areas receives rainfall more than 2000 millimeter, and because of that here we see the evergreen forest, where rain falls more than 2000 millimeter, as well as abundant light is there, sunlight is there. There we see the evergreen forest. Okay, student, now see here, the leaves of the trees in these forests are broad and green. The trees have hardwood, heavy and durable. So what kind of wood we can get from such kind of forest? That the trees have hardwood, heavy as well as durable. Okay, yes, student, have you understood? For example, mahogany we can find here, rosewood, then rubber. Okay, student, so such kind of trees we can find in the Brazil also. Mahogany, rosewood, rubber, such kind of trees can be found in Brazil also, and in India also, in evergreen forest. So this is, yes, student, in the evergreen forest again we can see here the creepers also. What we can see, creepers are also found in evergreen forest in India. As well as what do we see here, the highest biodiversity can be found in the evergreen forest of India. Don't forget it, the highest biodiversity can be seen in the evergreen forest of India. So student, this is about the evergreen forest of India. Now next we are going to study, that is, students, in the region where in India 1000 millimeter to 2000 millimeter rain falls, there we can see the deciduous forest. Student, just now I have told you what do you mean by deciduous forest. We have seen that in Brazil deciduous forests can be seen. Here also in India deciduous forests can be seen. Students, in dry season trees shade their leaves so that water is not lost due to evaporation. Okay, students, and students, in this deciduous forest in India, trees like teak, bamboo, banyan, peepal are found. Okay, students, have understood? So do not forget the what kind of trees found in the deciduous forest. Okay, and what kind of trees found in the Brazil, that we have seen mahogany, rosewood, rubber can be found in Brazil. In India, in deciduous forest we can see teak, bamboo, banyan and peepal. Okay, students, yes, question can be asked for odd man out, that odd man out with reference to the trees in Brazil as well as India. Okay, so you have to find out the which is the odd tree. Okay, student, this is the important thing here. Now next we are going to study, now student, here in India wherever we see the light green, okay, shade, light green shade, here we can see, here also we can see light green, here the larger area we can see, that is a large green. Okay, so in this area we can see the deciduous forest. So such kind of question can be asked, which type of forests occupy maximum area in India? Okay, so here we can see this area, the central India or north part of India, as well as the some of the westward side of western ghats area found deciduous forest. Here we see the deciduous forest. Okay, students, have you understood this much? Very good. So this is about the deciduous forest. Now let's move towards the next one. Now student, here we are going to study the areas or the forest or the vegetation of the region where the rain falls below 500 millimeter. Okay, there we see thorny forest. What kind of forest we see there? Where we receive below 500 millimeter, there we see thorny forest. Okay, yes, student, now see here this area, this I am shading right now. Okay, this area. Okay, Now here also the part of Gujarat. In this area we can have thorny shrubs. Okay students, have understood? And why do we have here thorny shrubs? Because of the lower rainfall, that is below 500 millimeter. Okay, here the plants or the trees have very small size leaves. What kind of trees do we find here? For example, catechu, acacia, izadi, and varieties of cactus like aloe vera and agave. Okay student, so such kind of shrubs can be found in this thorny forest. Okay students, yes. Now see, student, a question can be asked, on which side of India do you find the coastal forests? So here you can see the clearly blue color shades. Okay, blue color shade. So on the eastern side of coastal region, eastern part of the coastal region of India, there we see the coastal forest. Okay students, yes students, in India we can see swampy area too. Okay student, in Brazil also we can see the swampy area. For example, Panantel is the swampy area in Brazil. Here also we can see the swampy region. Swampy areas, estuaries, lagoons can be found in India. Students, what do you mean by swampy areas? Here we see most of the time the mixture of fresh water and the saline water. Okay, as well as estuaries means what? Mouth of the river. And because of the mouth of the river, always that place or the region we find wet one. Okay students, that is called as estuaries. And lagoons means, what do you mean by lagoons? For example, in easy language I would like to tell you, khadi. In khadi or lagoons we have saline water. By the side of coastal areas, most of the times we have such kind of lagoons or khadis we can say. And here we can see the saline soil. Okay, saline soil means what student? Here in such kind of soils or the water of the soil we see a salt. Okay students, here we can see the moist climate. Here we can see the coastal type of forest or coastal type of vegetation we can say. In this coastal type of forest we can see mangroves and Sundarbans. Student, we know where is Sundarban. Okay, Sundarban is here in Ganga Delta. In Ganga Delta we can see the mangroves. The name of mangrove in this Ganga Delta is Sundari, and because of that Sundari it is named as Sundarban. Okay students, the wood of these trees is light, oily and durable. Okay students, have you understood? Yes, nearby the coastal areas most of the time we can see the mangrove kind of trees, and in Ganga Delta we can see the Sundarban. Okay, and Sundarban, it is called as a Sundarban because of there we can see the Sundari trees. Okay students, have you understood this much? Very good. Now student, the last part of this map we are going to understand, that is the Himalayan forest. Okay student, in Himalayan forest we can see three types of forest or plants we can say, and it is according to the altitude of the Himalaya. We know that the altitude of Himalaya varies, and here in Himalaya at the high altitude we can see the seasonal flowering forest. Do not forget student, as per the height, as per the altitude of Himalaya, the type of forest changes. And here at the highest point of Himalaya or the altitude we can see seasonal flowering forests. And then at the medium altitude of Himalaya we can see coniferous forest. Okay student, what do you mean by coniferous forest? That the trees has needle pointed leaves. Okay, like if you have seen the Christmas tree, okay, like that we can see the trees at the medium altitude of Himalaya. For example, pine, devdar, fir. And student, at the last now, here at the foothill of Himalaya we can see mixed type of forest. This includes both coniferous and deciduous type of forests. At the foothill of Himalaya we can see in a large extent the trees of sal. Okay, sal trees are found here in a larger quantity at the foothill of Himalaya. Okay, student, have understood this much? Very good. Good. So, student, here we have studied the vegetation of Brazil and the vegetation of India. Student, if you have understood the cross section physiography of Brazil and this map of India, then it is very easy to understand the vegetation of Brazil as well as the vegetation of India. And it is very important, if you want to understand this lesson, I have told you, it is very important to understand the physiography of Brazil and India, the climate of Brazil and India. Okay, student, have you understood this much? Very good. So student, in the next video we are going to understand the wildlife of Brazil and the wildlife of India. Okay? Yes, students, if you have liked this video and if you have found this video useful, do not forget to share it to your friends and ask them to subscribe my channel. Students, be connected to get more and more such kind of informative videos. Students, like it, share it to your friends. Do not forget to comment below the video. Be thoughtful, be studious, and give respect to your parents and teachers. Thank you. Be connected.